Yo, what up? We're back. We're going to be doing the post-weigh-in breakdown for UFC 239, and we're just going to jump right into it with the first fight of the night with Kinzie against Julia Avila. And, during the week, I haven't really had any feeling why I should change my mind on this fight. And I think Julia Avila, I think she looks good, and she just needs to come forward, boss the fight, control the pace, keep it on the feet, control the center. And she's probably going to win. She just can't let Kinzie take her down or just outpoint her on the feet, make her kind of gun shy. But I think that Avila is going to come in here. I think she's going to go forward and she's going to do her thing. So I'm going to be sticking with Avila to get the win there on that one. Then up next here we have Ismail Nardiev against Chance Rentcounter. And, a lot of people, man, I know that I think Nardiev is going to win. I'm still going to keep the same pick as Nardiev, but I think a lot of people are, sleeping on Chance Rentcounter a bit, man. I think that, Rentcounter's pretty good. He has good lateral movement. He has a nice straight left hand, a really nice right hook, and if he could start to land that left hand, he may be able to duck under into his single legs, get his feints working, and I think he's going to obviously be the more not well-rounded, the more experienced guy, and he might have the better cardio here, even though I think that Ishmael doesn't have any problems with cardio either, so I'm not sure about that. But, Chance Rentcounter is a cardio machine. He's hard to finish, and I think there's some value on Rentcounter, but at some point, though, I just see Nardiev exploding in, and just being able to do that enough times to get a decision win or get the finish. And I'm going to actually say that he does become the first person to TKO Chance Rentcounter. But the thing is, in my opinion, man, that I just think Nardiev, if this fight goes to decision, I think that everyone that bet on him is going to be really sweating that pick, man. I think it's going to be a close fight if it goes to decision. But my pick's going to be Nardiev via second round KO TKO in that one. And then up next with Edmund Shahbazi against Jack Marshman. This is another fight, man, where this line is crazy now. I agree that Edmund should be the favorite here, but minus 700. Anyone that's betting Edmund Shahbazi at minus 700, they're out of their mind. That's ridiculous, man. But, Marshman, he's dangerous, especially in the early rounds. He has power. And he needs to try to walk Shahbazian down, try to get him to open up, man, and counter him, because Marshman has fast hands, he hits hard, and Edmund kind of floats his chin out there. But the thing is, Edmund's going to have a big size advantage, he's probably going to have a speed advantage, he has the youth advantage, the wrestling advantage, the power advantage, and it's just, I feel like he's obviously getting this spot for a reason, right? The UFC wants him to win, he's most likely going to win, but, at the number, all the value is on Marshman there, even though I'm not going to make a play on Marshman either, just because I really don't think he's going to win the fight. But, man, I don't know how people are justifying betting Edmund Shahbazian that high. When he fought against Charles Byrd, I remember I bet on Charles Byrd. A lot of people were saying Charles Byrd was going to win that fight. Or I bet on Edmund Shahbazian. A lot of people were saying Charles Byrd was going to win that fight, and he was like a minus 145. So now he goes from being minus 145 against a guy like Charles Byrd to being minus 700 against Jack Marshman. I just don't agree with that, but the pick's going to be Edmund Shahbazian there. And then I'm next with Yadong Song against Alejandro Perez. And yeah, man, I'm still fairly confident in this fight. I just think that Yadong Song, he looked good at the weigh-ins. He looked very big, and he looked ripped. He looked ready to go. And I just think that, we're going to see continued improved performances from this guy. This guy, however old he is, it's kind of a mystery. He's still young in the game. He's still a young fighter, and he's still improving every time we see him out there. And I just think he's more dynamic. He hits harder than, Alejandro Perez. And I just think that, Perez, he tries to kind of win with that weaseling style, the countering style, where he's just trying to steal the decision on points. But Yadong Song is in constant forward motion. He's going to be pushing the fight. He's going to be, throwing the harder shots, in my opinion. And he just needs to worry about not getting tired in this fight, for one, which I think actually it's going to be a benefit. I know that this is his first fight that's not in Asia. But the thing is about that, he's been training over here in the United States for a while. So for him to travel all the way to Asia with the plane, that's a hindrance to him as well. So to me, for him to be staying here in the United States, fighting here for the first time, I don't see that as much of an issue. I think that he's going to be ready for it. I think that training at Team Alpha Male, kind of being on a very high-profile card where he's not going to be getting that much shine, not getting that much buzz, Not that many people are going to be in the arena when he fights, so it's not going to be that much more of a high-profile spot than he's usually had. It's just a better opponent, and I feel like Vince Morales is kind of a good tertiary opponent to get ready for a guy like Alejandro Perez, because Perez is a good boxer, and Vince Morales is a good boxer, and Perez hits hard, Vince Morales hits hard, but Perez is a little better. He's a little bit more of a veteran. He can win decisions a little better. But I just think Yadong Song has all the intangibles here, and I think Perez is hittable, and he's a little bit chinny, man. So I think that Yadong Song is going to be able to find that chin and get the TKO in this fight. So my pick's going to be Yadong Song, and I'm still fairly confident in the pick. Very confident in the pick. And up next, Claudia Gadelha against Randa Marcos. And, this fight, I see a lot of people going back and forth on this fight where they don't really... some people are taking the shot on Randa Marcos, but I just think this is a terrible matchup for Randa, man. I mean, do you think Randa's going to take her down? Because I would be very surprised. And I don't think Randa is better striking than Claudia either. So at that point, the only thing that she has going for her is cardio, maybe a mental advantage in terms of having more confidence coming into the spot. But for me, man, I mean, those two things aren't enough to offset all those physical advantages, to be able to offset the technique, the skill level, and I think that Claudia Gadelha is desperate here, man. She needs to win this fight. If she loses this fight here to Randa Marcos, I mean, her career, is almost over at that point, man. I mean, what is she going to do after that? It's not like Randa Marcos is a high-level fighter in the division, so if she loses to Randa, that proves that she's not even a top 10 fighter, and I think at that point, I don't know, for Claudia, that would be a very hard pill to swallow. But to me, man, I just think that she's better everywhere. She has the better striking. She's faster. She has the better wrestling, the better jiu-jitsu, the better power. I mean, if she loses this fight, it's going to be all 100% because she didn't show up or because, she just made a mistake, because she's the better fighter here and she should get it done. So even though Claudia has been struggling a little bit lately, even though she's been seeming like she's kind of struggling mentally, I still got to give it to Claudia to get the job done, and most likely via decision there. And then up next here, we're going to be breaking down this fight for the first time here with Marlon Chito Vera taking on Nolan Hernandez. I did not have this matchup last time. Marlon, he was supposed to fight Sean O'Malley, and that was a big opportunity for him, but it's now fallen by the wayside. O'Malley was flagged by NSAC, Nevada State Athletic Commission, so a late replacement, and Nolan Hernandez is forced to come in. And Vera, he's been on a tear. He's more violent than ever. He's won his last 3 fights via finish, and he's a good striker. He switches stances. He throws a lot of kicks, hard low leg kicks, good jab, straight left hand. From southpaw, he throws hard rounded front kicks to the body from southpaw. He'll also throw side kicks, hard round kicks to the head, oblique kicks to the knees with both legs, and he likes to throw a jab, left hooks from orthodox a lot. He'll also throw a lead left hook uppercut combination and a jab right hook to a body kick combination from orthodox, and his straight left hand in southpaw is accurate. It has pop, and he's usually a slow starter, but he comes in round 2 reinvigorated in his recent fights. He seems to have a new mindset, kill or be killed type mindset, super aggressive. He'll start to walk down opponents heavily, really put the volume on, welcome a war, and he really puts a pace on people. He tries to get them to move backwards. And when he gets fighters against the cage, he can unload with brutal combinations, with big flying knees, with big hooks, both to the body and the head. He isn't the most athletic fighter, but I feel like he's getting better in terms of, knowing how to move in the octagon, what he's good at, where he's safe. And his chin and toughness are always evident. I think he's actually going to be the quicker, more explosive fighter in this fight. And he's good at walking down opponents with a high guard, but he doesn't move his head much. He stands tall. It makes him hittable, and he's very durable, like I said. He won't be broken. He's never been finished in his career, and he has 4 KO TKOs, including a lot recently. And he's a strong grappler. He's very dangerous. He likes to get the tie clinch, land hard knees to the head. He'll also throw hard hooks to the body and the head from single collar. He's good at disengaging the clinch with combinations, especially against the cage. That's how he finished Wuliji Burin recently. And he landed a brutal combination of knees to the head against Guido Canetti that dropped him. And he's just awesome at throwing combos against the cage with bad intentions, changing it up, going to the grappling, coming back up with strikes. He hurt Canetti bad against the cage. He attacked with the guillotine. Then he hurt him again and got a trip takedown, took the back, and got the rear naked choke. He doesn't have the greatest takedown defense, but he's tricky off his back. He doesn't mind being there. He got that armbar finish against Brian Kelleher. He'll also attack with nice elbows. He has decent get-ups. And he's improving. He's gaining confidence. And he has 7 submission victories, and his last 4 wins are all via finish. He has great cardio. He gets better as the fight goes on. And this is a good matchup for Vera. He won't have to look for this guy or worry about takedowns. I also think Vera hits harder. He's more explosive. And if he goes in there looking for the kill, I think it's very likely he's going to find it. But for Nolan Hernandez, he's accepting this fight on about 2 weeks' notice. This is a huge spot to make your UFC debut, and he's facing an established UFC veteran on the biggest card of the year, so a lot of stress here for Hernandez. Hernandez does train at AKA, so he has a lot of coaches, teammates who can tell him what UFC fight week is like, prep him a little bit. And Hernandez, he's a striker. He primarily likes to box. He does have pro boxing experience, but he's 0-3. And Hernandez likes to pressure forward, control the center. He works behind a nice jab that he'll double, triple up on. He'll throw a good 1-2s, hooks in combination. He'll also throw a nice right hook, straight left hand. He has pretty fast hands. He'll trade in the pocket. He doesn't have a lot of variety in his striking, though. The only other strike he'll really mix in besides the 1-2 is a flying knee. He doesn't kick. Hernandez is also flat-footed. He stands tall. He can be chopped down with leg kicks. He also doesn't move his head. His chin is straight up in the air. He gets tagged in almost all his fights. I've seen him dropped multiple times. He does have good recoverability. He won't give up, and he doesn't seem to have huge power himself, though. He has 3 KO TKOs. He has never been finished by strikes yet. But Hernandez, he isn't an offensive grappler. The only times he'll really go for takedowns is if he's getting beat up on the feet. He will shoot single legs, try to control opponents in the clinch, but isn't a good wrestler. I would say the best part of his game is his takedown defense. He has a good sprawl. He has fast hips. I haven't seen much of him on top or on his back. The only time I saw someone get on top of him, cement position, was after he was dropped by Fierce Taylor. He was submitted by rear naked choke there, but Nolan, he isn't a submission threat. He has no submissions in his career. He is still young. He's only been a pro since 2016, and he hasn't been overwhelming versus regional competition. He has 4 split decisions, including the one in his last fight. He does seem to have good cardio, and he's a slow starter himself, but he needs to be technical in this match, stick and move. But to be honest with you, man, I think that Chito Vera is a very, very safe pick here. I think that Chito Vera is going to chop down those legs of Nolan Hernandez. I think Nolan is very chinny, a little bit chinny, and I think Marlon's going to test that chin. I think Marlon's going to be the one always going forward, and I just don't think that Nolan has the firepower or the means to keep Marlon Vera off of him. So going with Marlon Chito Vera via finish in that fight. Up next, we got El Nino, Gilbert Melendez taking on Arnold Allen, and man, I'm standing strong here. I'm keeping the pick with my boy Gilbert Melendez. I really like the line. I actually have a bet on this fight. And man, I feel like Gilbert Melendez, for one, he's an analyst, so he had to adapt his style a little bit. I know a lot of people are talking about him getting hit with kicks, stuff like that. But I feel like Arnold Allen, for one, he isn't a kicker even close to the level of Jeremy Stevens or Barbosa, for one. But for two, I feel like that he's going to have a bit of a response to those leg kicks in this fight. I feel like he's probably going to try to counter early and often with straight punches when he throws leg kicks, or just do something, maybe try to check a couple kicks. But I also just feel like just the fact that Gilbert has so much more experience on this guy, man. I mean, look at some of the names that Gilbert has fought versus Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen hasn't fought anyone, man. I've never seen Arnold Allen really put in a terrible spot where he's almost been finished. I have seen him lose and come back, which is fun to see, which is good to see, but who is he doing that against? He's doing that against guys like Mads Burnell, who aren't in the UFC. He's doing that against guys like Alan O'Mur, who's not in the UFC. I mean, just guys that just are not very good, man. And Gilbert Melendez, he's only I don't think he's ever lost. I'm trying to think, has he ever lost to someone not ranked inside of the top 15 when he fought him? I don't think so. I mean, maybe Michihiro Ishida back in the day, but I mean, his recent losses are to Josh Thompson, Benson Henderson, very close fight, Anthony Pettis, Eddie Alvarez, very close fight, Edson Barbosa, and Jeremy Stevens. I mean, those guys are bad motherfuckers, man. And Arnold Allen, he's never faced that level. He's never faced the level of Gilbert Melendez. He's struggled with wrestlers a lot in his career where he's been taken down multiple times. He's been controlled on the mat for large portions of the fight. I think Gilbert has better boxing than this kid as well, man. I think Gilbert's hands are crispy. It's hard. He has a nasty jab. And I'm going with Gilbert Melendez here, man. I think he's going to get it done. I actually thought he looked really good at the weigh-ins. I thought he was ripped. And he looks good. He didn't look drawn out at all. And I think that Gilbert Melendez is going to go out here and hand this kid a loss. So I'm going with Gilbert Melendez to get the win here. And up next, we got the fight of the week, in my opinion, Diego Sanchez taking on Michael Chiesa. And, man, Diego's been on fire this weekend. I mean, I don't know if you guys, tell me what you guys think about that. You guys think that his interviews are a positive, what he's been saying, or do you think that it's a negative, like where he has been talking about he left Jackson Winks and he's going in with one trainer, all this kill or be killed, all this extreme, machismo type stuff? I mean, do you think that's going to help Diego? You think that's going to be a benefit to Diego, or do you think that's going to hurt him in this fight? But I mean, the two stare downs that we've seen today, Diego didn't even go down, didn't even get on the scale. It's kind of funny. He just walked straight up to Chiesa, and man, I mean, he's serious about this. He's ready to go. He has a different mindset now, it seems like. And, man, I'm going to stick with my original pick of Diego Sanchez. I just think that Diego he's going to start early. I think he's going to kind of stun Chiesa early about how fast he starts. I know Chiesa is going to be ready for this fast start, but I think Diego's going to come across. I think he's going to start throwing bombs. I think he's going to get a takedown. And I think he's going to be able to control Chiesa on top. I mean, I really do, man. I really think that Diego's grappling is better than Chiesa's. I know Chiesa is a bigger guy. He has good grappling skills himself, but I just think Diego's grappling is better. I mean, I just watched Diego out-grapple a 205-pound Jake Ellenberger, and, Jake Ellenberger is an elite-level wrestler. I wouldn't put Chiesa in the level of an elite-level wrestler, and Chiesa gets reversed a lot on the mat, man. I mean, he got submitted by George Masvidal. He got submitted by Anthony Pettis. He gets sweeped a lot. I mean, Carlos Condit almost submitted him. So, I mean, he's not, super, super technical on the mat. And I just think that Diego's going to be able to get it done, man. And I'm going to go with Diego Sanchez to get this victory and to win via decision here. So I'm going with Diego Sanchez to get the win. And then up next, we have Jan Blachowicz taking on Luke Rockhold. And, man, I mean, if there was one guy that I was the most impressed with their physique at the weigh-in today, it was definitely Luke Rockhold. He was fucking huge, man. I mean, I was really surprised how much bigger. He was really big. I mean, he looked jacked. He looked in great shape, and I think Rockhold's going to get the early takedown. Like I said, I just think that if this fight stays on the feet, I mean, Jan looks like he's very motivated. I mean, I feel like guys get motivated when they fight Luke Rockhold just because of the disrespect he gives them, the pompous attitude he has, and they just want to shut that guy the fuck up. But, man, I mean, in this fight, I just think that the ground game is just very, very, I just think that there's a big difference there. I think that there's a difference. If he can get it to the ground, the fight's going to be over, in my opinion, for Luke Rockhold getting the win. And on the feet, I think it's like 50-50. So, Jan can get a knockout. He needs to come out hard, man. He has to try to really just not give a fuck in this fight. Just try to just do his thing. Just work, go forward, throw bombs. Try to stay somewhat technical so you don't get in that grappling range. But you have to let it go, man. You have to get Luke to respect your power, to back up, to be weird, to get inside. And that's when you can get him to fight the type of game that you want to fight, which is on the feet. And if you can do that, then you're going to have a good chance to win if you're Jan. But to me, man, I just think that Luke's going to get the takedown probably in the first round and be able to get the finish here. So I'm going to go with Luke Rockhold to get the win. And, so I'm going with Luke Rockhold here. And then up next, you have George Masvidal against Ben Askren. And, man, I mean, this is probably the most talked about fight of the week. It's a hell of a fight. And, what I said earlier on in the week was that I thought Askren should win the fight very easily. I was talking about at the end of the day, if you're getting taken down by guys like Maia, Mike Chiesa, Askren is going to take you down. And I still believe that. I still believe that Askren is going to get takedowns. I think that he's going to win the fight. I'm going to pick Ben Askren to still win via decision. But just the attitude that George has brought into this week, the way that he's had like a calm demeanor, but also, a killer's mindset. To me, that's a very dangerous thing. I think that he's going to come out, ready to kill, but very technical. And I actually think he's going to give Ben a better fight than I anticipated, because I just feel like he's in a great mindset. He's ready to go. He doesn't like this dude, and he wants to make a statement, give him a beating. So I could see Masvidal having some good moments where maybe he tags Ben with some shots, hurts him. But at the end of the day, I think that the grappling is just too big of an advantage there for Ben Askren. And I think that the fight's going to be very boring if Askren has his way, because I don't think that he's going to be able to do much of George Masvidal on the mat in terms of damage with ground and pound, in terms of submissions. But I do think he's probably going to be able to advance position, hold, do just enough to control on top, keep the position, and just win the fight the Ben Askren way. So I'm going to go with Ben Askren to get the win. But man, I mean, nothing this weekend would make me happier than to see Masvidal go out there and get another knockout. So hopefully all three of them pull through. George Masvidal, Gil, and Diego. I mean, I really want all three of them to win, but we'll see what happens. But my pick's going to be Ben Askren by decision. And up next, Amanda Nunes against Holly Holm. And I have to say, man, I mean, I think Amanda, just in terms of the style matchup, has a big advantage here, just because I think she's going to be able to walk her down. But she does kind of leave herself susceptible if she misses shots, where Holly could potentially land a counter. But I think the ability to time that when you're after you got bombed on a few times is going to be hard to do, because I think she's going to be gun shy like she usually gets in a lot of her fights, where she's kind of out of range with her punches. But the thing is, man, I mean, for me, Amanda's been very, very confident this week, to the point of arrogance, to the point of maybe looking over Holly. And if that happens and she just acts like Holly's a complete pushover, then Holly's chances are going to significantly improve to win the fight, because Holly looks in very good shape. I think she knows this is her last opportunity to win the belt. She looks ready to go. She looks focused. So I think that she's going to go in there with the mentality to win. She's not going to lay down. She's not going to be nervous that she's going to get knocked out. She's going to go in there thinking, no, I'm going to get the knockout. I'm going to get the win. So I think she's going to have a good mindset going in there. But at the end of the day, the thing is she going to be able to stop the forward pressure of Amanda, for one, handle the power, and not get backed up? And I just don't think that that's true. I think that Amanda is going to be able to back her up, because I think that Holly's going to be hesitant already right off the bat, just knowing the power of Amanda to get inside the range. And also with the grappling skills of Amanda, I think that she's going to be hesitant to do that as well. So I think that Holly is going to be missing a lot with her punches, and I think it's going to give Amanda the confidence to go forward and just start to land. And I think if that happens, that Holly could get taken out. But the thing about Holly is she's a mover, she's a survivor, and once she starts to feeling that blitz, starts to feel that she might be losing the fight, she kind of goes into survival mode, and she tries to just last the round. So I think that she's going to have a chance to go to decision here. So my pick's going to be Holly by decision. But if Amanda was overlooking her, then it becomes a much more interesting fight. Up next, the main event, Jon Jones versus Maheta Santos. And my big takeaway from over the week is that Jon Jones looks huge compared to Maheta, man. I did not think that the size advantage was that big. But yeah, I mean, that's really my biggest takeaway from the week. Obviously, we know that Maheta's going to have the chance to get the knockout. He has almost, maybe he has the most knockouts or close to the most knockouts in UFC history. He, has that hammer on his chest for a reason, man. He hits hard. He's going to come in there probably without fear. He's going to come in there guns blazing, and he's going to go for it. But Jon Jones just has such a huge advantage in the grappling, in my opinion, whereas we've seen guys like Eric Anders on short notice take down Thiago Santos. We've seen guys like Eric Spicely submit Thiago Santos. And if he gets taken down by Jon Jones, he's not going to get back up, and he's probably going to get finished. So I just do not see that many paths to victory for Maheta Santos, man. He's not going to be able to walk down Jones because of the wrestling. If he stays on the outside, Jones has a 8.5-inch reach advantage. He's going to pick him apart with kicks, with straight punches. And if Maheta blitzes in, you can just get the takedown through that as well. So, I mean, he's going to really have to just land something big somehow and just shock the world, man. I mean, shock the world, because I don't see a lot of avenues for him to win. The pick's going to be Jon Jones. And, yeah, I see some of you guys were asking me for a different parlay due to your book, maybe not being able to do the parlay inside the distance prop. So, what I'm going to do for that parlay is I'm going to do a parlay with Yadong Song, Marlon, Chito Vera, and Amanda Nunes as the three people parlay for that, because it'll be pretty good odds if it's 3 people. I think it's going to be plus odds. It might even be slightly under that, but I think it's going to be plus odds. So I'm going to give you guys the parlay with that, and hopefully we can cash on that, hit 5 weeks in a row with the parlay of the week. And if you guys want to do the other parlay of the week, that's also another option if you guys can parlay the prop bets, because I really do believe that John Jones should get a finish here. And as for the other fights, I mean, Amanda versus Holly, I would lean towards that going to decision. I would lean towards the Askren fight going towards decision. Unless, I mean, Masvidal may get the finish if he is to win the fight. So if you're going to pick Masvidal, I think you'd most likely want to pick, inside the distance, because you would get a better number on that. Luke versus Chan, I think that's a guaranteed finish. So I do think it's a good idea to bet the under 2.5 if they do have that. If it's under 1.5, that's a little bit risky, but I definitely think that the fight doesn't go the distance is a good bet there. Chiesa versus Diego, I think that fight's going to most likely go to decision there. I think that Gilbert versus Arnold Allen, decision as well. And Cheeto Vera, I'm actually going to play Cheeto Vera probably in an inside the distance prop, because I really am pretty confident he's going to get the finish there. Claudia versus Randa, that's going to be like minus 400 for a decision, and that's most likely what it's going to be. Claudia could get a finish here if she comes in looking like, prime Claudia, but the odds of that are not very high. And then with Perez versus Yadong Song, I do think Yadong is going to get the knockout. I would say Edmund gets the finish, Nardiev gets the finish, and Avila goes to decision. So that's going to be my picks for how the fights are going to go as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and I'll be back next week to do the video. And if you guys are going to the fights tomorrow, hit me up. Hit me up on Twitter and DM. Write a comment down here. Hit me up on my email, mapredictionguru@gmail.com, and see if we can get together. I met with a couple people today. Shout out to Marcus, and yeah, man. So yeah, hopefully we can win on these bets and make some money tomorrow. So yeah, we're all going to have fun watching 239 tomorrow, and let's get it.